What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast presented by Major League Success. I have Angela Williams-Gebhardt with us from Key Realty, and she's down in the Washington courthouse area. And Angela, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me.
You are welcome. Good to be here.
And I'm super excited because we have been, I think, just social media friends, and we haven't had the chance to really connect. So I always tell people when I have someone new on here where I get to actually learn more about them and their journey into this business. Selfishly, I enjoy it because I get to learn more about you on the fly, just like our listeners. So, Angela, what we do on the Tell Me More podcast is we always start from the beginning and we talk about, early childhood and life growing up. So can you kind of tell us a little bit more about yourself? Where are you from? How was childhood and going into high school and post high school?
Let's see. Born and raised in Washington courthouse. I wanted to leave as soon as possible, like a lot of small town kids. So when I was 17, I joined the Army, the Army Reserve, so I could leave. So I did this thing called split option. And so I went to basic training when I was 17, the summer before my senior year, came home, graduated, went to AIT, Advanced Individual Training, then went straight to college. And that was EKU, Eastern Kentucky University.
Yeah.
And I was there, and then I started my journey in television broadcast. So that's where I first started. Was in
All right, we have to unwind because you skipped a lot and there was a lot going on, which is great. So I'm curious. I grew up from a small town. I understand the small town, not wanting to go back feel. For me, it was come to Ohio State, and like my whole mindset was, well, if I go back home and I move back in with my parents, they're probably going to charge me rent anyway, so I might as well figure it out here.
Yeah.
What made you go the military route? Was that just something that was in your family, or is it just what you thought was the way to get you out of Washington courthouse?
Well, I was always like this really patriotic kid. I really was. And my brother, he went to basic training, and I remember him coming home and getting us up in the middle of the night and telling us all of his stories and all that. So anyway, I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. It would help me through college. And I was always enjoyed athletics too. So I thought I was going to be jumping out of planes as soon as I, joined and all that. Didn't happen, but that's kind of how it happened. I thought, well, it's a good opportunity. My brother did it, I'll do it. So that's how it happened. But I enjoyed my time growing up in courthouse. I just wanted to go and explore. So
Sure.
And I also thought I would do a lot of traveling. I really didn't do well later on in my career with the military. I did travel, but in the beginning I didn't. I traveled on my own. So
Okay.
yeah.
So what made you? Was that just part of the program to do it? You said the summer before your senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just part of the program, or was it like I just want to dive right in?
It's called split option. I don't even know if they do it now. But I did it because I knew I wasn't very disciplined, and I was afraid that if I went in after I graduated high school and then I started making money, I wouldn't want to go to college. And that was a major goal of mine, was to go to college. So I wasn't going to put any kind of boundary on myself. So I thought, well, if I do it this way, I won't miss any college. My best friend, she filled out pretty much all of my paperwork, did everything for me. So that I think I missed a couple days, but I went straight from AIT straight into at EKU. So it worked out perfect.
And what did you end up going to EKU for?
Broadcasting, television broadcasting, and communications.
What created that interest to go that route for your degree?
I think, honestly, I've pondered this many times. I think my dad watching Dan Rather every night, he he was so focused on the news every night. I thought, ooh, I can get my dad's, attention this way. I think that's my subconscious. I did not think that when I was a kid. I was just thinking it would be a cool way to travel. It's adventurous. I get bored easily. I want to do something different every day. And that's why I did it.
Well, I mean, hey, the news changes every day, right? I mean, that's partly why I love real estate. I mean, for the most part, real estate changes every single day. So you go to
Yes.
EKU down there, focusing on broadcasting journalism, going that route. End up graduating?
Yep. Graduated in 1996. My first job was in television, TV 43, Hopkinsville, Kentucky, tiny station. I covered floods for about 3 months continuous. That's all it was flooding. It was great. And then I went to the ABC affiliate in Brunswick, Georgia, which turned into the what was it? It was a affiliate for the ABC affiliate in Jacksonville.
Okay.
So I was there, and then I went to Savannah, Georgia, worked for WTOC, CBS affiliate, and then that's where I ended my career in television.
What I got to ask, because I love traveling, and visited Savannah. Now, I'll put a little caveat. It was kind of during COVID a little bit. I was a little disappointed in the city, though. I got to be honest.
Okay.
I love history, and it may have been because of COVID, right? Because things were kind of shut down, half open. But I love history, right?
Yeah,
And
I do too.
the history that city has. I don't know. I was just a little let down. How long were you there for?
Probably, I don't know, 6, 7 years maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, it's super hot. It's super muggy. I'm not a fan of the weather. I made great friends. I learned a lot. I actually worked in politics after that, after TV news. So I got to know a lot of the inner workings of a lot of things. And the South is definitely not the Midwest.
Yeah.
Culturally, and just some other, just a lot of it's different.
Yeah.
So it was different to get used to, but it's a fun city. It's a beautiful place. I just it's not my favorite place. So I'm with
Sure.
you. It's not my favorite.
Sure.
I actually
Sure.
if to visit, I like Charleston better than
Oh,
Savannah.
so we were supposed to get married. My wife and I were supposed to get married in 2020, and so she already had the honeymoon off of work. Well, we were supposed to go to Hawaii. Well, Hawaii shut down, right? So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, let's just do a 12-day road trip. We went to Franklin, Tennessee, then over to Savannah, then to Hilton Head. We then went to Charleston and fell in love with Charleston. So
Yes.
we're on the same page here.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know why, but yeah, I just like Charleston better.
Yeah. So after broadcasting and doing that, you mentioned that you jumped into the political sector. Kind of
Yep.
fill me in on what the next steps of your career were, for you.
I had interviewed a congressman throughout my career in Georgia in both the ABC and the CBS affiliates because that was part of his region. So he asked me to come aboard to do his local media. So, and then I worked with constituents too. So I thought, well, yeah, I'll try it. I was broke because you don't make any money being a news reporter in a small, TV land.
Sure.
So I thought, yeah, I'll do it. It was a great opportunity, great learning experience. Worked for him for 2 years. Then I did my own little advertising business, political advertising business for probably a year. And then my husband got a job west. So we started going west. And that is where I really did most of my travel, was just moving with his job.
And that whole time, were you still in reserves?
Yes.
Okay.
Was
So
in the
you're still
reserve.
doing that.
Yeah, for 16 years. So
Okay.
in every place I lived, I was part of a National Guard or reserve unit.
Sure. Sure. Lead me up to your career and getting into the business.
Okay. So we were in San Francisco, then we were in Los Angeles, then we went to Austin, Texas, because my husband wanted to get out of the grind of movies because he was in production,
Okay.
and it's super, super, super long hours. And we thought, well, we'll go to Austin because there's a big video game community there. He could work in video games, wouldn't be as many hours, wouldn't be as stressful, etc. Well, it was worse.
Mm,
It was worse than movies. So he was working all the time, and so I thought, I don't know what I should do. And then I started thinking about real estate, and I joined Keller Williams. So I got my license in Austin, Texas, with Keller Williams, and that's where it started.
okay.
So I feel like I was so lucky to be under the tutelage of Keller and Williams because they would literally come in and talk to us.
Yeah.
So, and then there was so much um, education. There was constant education, constant classes, and it was the boom. It was like, when was that? Like 2005.
Okay.
So it was a great time to jump in. So that's where I started. And I was there. It was, now this is an interesting story. We bought this little house in Hyde Park, which is close to the university.
Okay.
And I can't remember which one, if it was Keller or Williams, but he said in 6 months, we're going to crash. Everything's going to crash. And I was like, I was like, oh no. I said, so I come home and I'm like, we got to sell the house. And my husband at the time was like, oh my gosh, why? I only have 6 more months out of this contract. I don't want to move for 6 months. I said, because the market's going to crash. I said, and it was right before 2008.
Yeah.
So we ended up selling our little cute house in Hyde Park, went to this yucky rental. 6 months later, crashed.
Wow.
And we made a ton of money off of our house because we were still in the boom. And he was so spot on. He was like, in 6 months, we are crashing, and we're crashing hard. So the guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we stayed there another 6 months. Then we moved back to Columbus.
Okay.
Got my license during the crash. Did not sell one house. It was awful.
What the experience that you had in Austin, were you licensed 3 years then? You said 05 to 08, is that
Yeah, but probably that. Yeah,
okay?
maybe 2 years, something
And
like
were
that.
you just by yourself, or did you have a team? Or,
No,
I
I was
know
just by
teams were
myself.
kind of just somewhat starting at that time, but
Yeah,
you're just
yeah,
selling on your own.
yeah. Oh man.
And then so now you relocate back to Columbus, decide to get licensed here, even knowing that the market, was down.
Yeah.
What was some of that thought process like? Was it just because you found that you loved the business, or just found that, this is what you're meant to do?
Yes, absolutely loved it. Loved it. It was. I always liked the thought of renovations, and I like the thought of making old things new, regardless of what it is. I love
Hmm.
adoption. I love adoption of dogs, people, all of that. Adopting old houses, transforming them, and I just love the idea of it. And then in Austin, because it was so booming, they had all these new builds of all these super um, modern homes that I
Yeah.
absolutely loved coming from LA. And then I just loved it. And we did a lot of touring of homes. We did tours of homes like every Monday. We would
Okay.
tour. Yeah, we used to do it in Columbus. We don't do it here in Courthouse, but I just absolutely fell in love with the whole process of it. So when we moved back to Columbus, we had a place in German Village on Deschler, a
Okay.
duplex that we were renovating. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm going to get my license again. Yeah, yeah. I was it was kind of a team, but it was just really a small brokerage called Dooley and Company. I don't know if you've been in the business that long. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
We
No.
mostly focused on downtown property because that's what I love.
Yeah.
And Bruce was my broker. Hey, Bruce. I love Bruce. And but I did not sell one thing. I did not sell one house. And I beat myself up. I mean, did all of the stuff that I learned with Keller Williams, the cold calling and the knocking on doors. It was a nightmare. So anyway, we were there for 6 months. It was so cold. It was like the coldest that I remember it being here ever. And we moved back to LA. I was like, forget it. We're dead.
So I want to, because I think this will. I always find that usually there's something that happens in an agent's past that really has a direct impact into their real estate business and future real estate business. The 3 years at Keller Williams in Austin, did you have instant success or were there struggles? Can you talk about those first couple years as far as how you focused on building your business from the jump?
That was pretty easy. When I was in Austin, it was easy because everybody was wanting to buy a house. I did a lot of open houses. I had a partner kind of, and he and I would just go and we'd knock on doors. I met people just through social gatherings and things. And so the Austin was pretty easy. Yeah, the business was just so easy then too.
Yeah.
Everybody was ready to buy. And then when I got to Columbus, nobody was ready to buy. Everyone was scared to death. And it was bad.
So you're here, so you get licensed, you're here for 6 months, and then you go back to LA.
Yeah.
Was that for husband's job then? Okay.
Yeah, he went back into, I don't know, his video games or film or whatever. I did some TV stuff, but I never got into real estate, and I don't know why. I'm so mad that I didn't. When I look at it, I watch every real estate show that's out there, and I'm like, why did I not get into it? Yeah. But while we were there, we did buy a duplex on the west side of LA, and we renovated one side, and we were on one of the HGTV shows.
Okay.
Yeah. I forget what it was called. It was when you renovated and then they judged your work, and then
okay.
Yeah, and then you made whatever. So if we spent $10,000 and the pros would have spent $20,000, you won the difference.
Gotcha.
So we did really well in that. We ranked at like the 98th percentile. So anyway,
well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was my one thing I did in real estate in LA. So then we moved back, and instead of going to Columbus, we moved to Courthouse.
Okay.
And that is where I really focused on business.
What year was that when you moved back?
It's like 8 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were out in LA then, really around that time when HGTV was really starting to take off with all of the shows. I was in college in 2010, 2011, graduated in 2011, and that's kind of what piqued my interest, was part of the flipping shows and all of those things. Yeah. Hey, this looks great. My family always bought older homes, and we just fixed them up ourselves, and not to flip, but just to live in.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I'm going to get into the business of investing, I should probably learn a little bit real estate. So, but that was during that peak of really those shows starting to take off.
Yeah, it was. I wish I could remember. I forget. It was called. It was on the DIY network.
Okay.
HGTV produced it, and you can find it, in all their.
Hey, that's right up your background. You got TV and real estate.
I know, that's why I had to do it, but well, gosh, we had 6 weeks to do it, and we were living in it, and our house was 1,200 square feet total. So we lived in 600 square feet. Yeah. So it was not easy. It was not an easy thing to do. It was very bad. But I loved it. My husband, not so much. Yeah. So anyway, we're divorced now, so that might be the cause.
Chalk it up as an experience. That's how I look at things.
I loved it. Right? Yeah, I'd do it again.
So you end up moving back to Central Ohio, specifically Washington Courthouse, about 8 years ago. So this would have been 2014.
Yes, 2014.
And did you keep your license active, or did you have to reactivate at that time?
I had to take everything over. So silly. I was so burnt out when I left in 2008, I was like, oh, I'll never do this again. And then when I moved home, I thought, well, I won't be able to make any money in Washington courthouse, so I'll just flip. I thought, well,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and get my license. I'll flip. I'll be fine. And then I have so many family members that live here and friends just from growing up. And I'd been gone for like 25 years, but when I came back, it kind of just fell into my lap. Like, oh, you've got your real estate license. Oh, okay. Well, will you list it? And then I kind of brought everything that I'd learned from Austin and LA and what a lot of people in the cities were already doing.
Yeah.
But a lot of social media. I did a ton of Facebook, everything. I love interiors, anything, regardless. And so I started staging my own listings. And I think that is probably what helped me with my business, is the word got out that I staged. And I truly, even though you can read about this, you can watch any show in the world, and they will tell you that you need to stage your house, people still don't believe it.
Yeah.
It's so dramatic. I have people use me, and I don't even list their house, but I still stage their house because it's true. I mean, it just depends on the list price, but I mean, it can be, you can make $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 more just by staging, especially homes that are really weird. When they have something quirky about them, a lot of people cannot envision it to look any different than what they see.
Yeah,
So
that's exactly what I was just gonna say. A lot of times buyers have a hard time picturing, what a room would look like set up differently, or I mean, even something simple as paint colors, right?
yeah,
And
huge.
how that really changes the feel and the look of a room, or having flooring that's throughout the whole house. It's the same, to keep the continuous flow.
Yes.
And I think one thing that you found, whether by design or not, was you found your unique selling proposition in probably what I'll say is a lot of times small towns are behind the times,
Yeah. Yep.
right? And think
Yep.
about it, 2014, 2015, social media still wasn't what it was today,
No,
or what
not
it
at
is
all.
today, right? Back then it was still, it wasn't as big as what it is today in agents businesses. And the fact that you kind of already had some of that experience in bigger cities, to bring back to Washington Courthouse, I think really caught everyone off guard in a good way, right?
Yeah.
You got
Well,
their attention.
and it's hard. It's really hard because you are raised in that puritanical thing. You don't brag, you don't push yourself, you don't talk about yourself. But after being in LA and being in working in the entertainment industry, I have a friend that's she's a hostess for one of the TV shows, one of the talk shows. And I remember her telling me, if you don't tell people what you're doing, they will never know.
Mm,
And for some reason, that something so elementary really hit. And I was like, oh, that's true. Like, how would anybody know if I don't tell them?
yeah.
So I know that seems really basic, but that's kind of what got me out of my shell because, it's uncomfortable to talk about yourself. I
Sure.
don't like it. I hate it, but you kind of have to.
Well, and it's just top mind awareness, right?
Right.
The more they see you, the more they hear you, the more they're going to think of you.
Yeah.
And one of the things I try to tell agents, to do, obviously we don't need to go and puke real estate on everyone. Like, who's looking to buy, sell, or invest, right? Like, but there are ways as real estate agents that we can show people that we're busy and we're active doing the business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something as simple as posting pictures about staging a house, or posting pictures about you going to a networking event, or talking about a meeting that you had with your lender or whoever. Like that, all of that matters. It doesn't always have to be, who can I help, who can I help, who can I help. And I think that's
Yeah.
where some agents struggle, is the documentation of um, what we do day in and day out.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, because it is hard to find content sometimes, for social media. But I have, I'm lucky because I was in television news, and content is what, you have to find content every day. So I
Yeah.
can kind of make a story out of anything, really, tell you the truth. I mean, if this couch, I can tell you about the couch, anything.
Yeah.
So that comes a lot easier for me than than other people, just because they don't have that background. But it is important to be out there all the time and your name out there, just because name recognition is big. They may
Yeah.
not even know anything about me, but they've seen my name, so they call.
Well, and especially, in small towns, it's a little bit harder in bigger cities. Not impossible, but having the market share, right?
Yes.
Being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to own and dominate the market of where you live and what we would call our backyard,
Yes.
right? And I'm
Yeah.
sure the whole TV, and journalism and all that background has played a huge impact in your thought process of how do I let people know that I'm the go-to agent for this area.
Yeah. I always remember that people have very short attention spans. If you blab on and on and on, they'll be like, okay, bye. So I try to make everything concise, boom, get it out there. And, if they want to know more, they can ask.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, just because I'm curious, because you do have the more of the media background. Um, for those that are, so I was always taught, like, we're not we are marketers that happen to sell real estate, right?
Yeah.
That's how we
Right.
should picture ourselves.
Yeah.
I was watching a Rupert Murdoch docu series a couple months back, and just talk about how he built his empire around print and news and all of these things, and how basically he's the most powerful man, if you think about it, in the world right now, because of how much news that he owns and controls.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
me thinking, as real estate agents, I wonder if you agree or disagree. Should we be positioning ourselves as we are the media company that happens to be selling real estate?
No, no, no. Just because, regardless, we have to always think about our client first. And I don't know if media is good for us, but is it good for our client? It is, because we're pushing their product. But like, I would definitely want to be a real estate market in a media market. Like, I don't think we should be nothing but marketers. It's more important to have one client and have them have a good experience than a million clients, in my opinion. I mean, I want to be able to go to bed at night and be happy and know that my clients are happy and that everything has gone well. With Keller Williams, their motto is, well, it was when I was there, at least, it's win-win or no deal, and that's what I really love.
Mm,
I want everybody to feel happy when they leave that closing table. I hope the buyer and the seller are happy. Now, a lot of times people go into these transactions with a win-lose mentality.
yeah,
And that I hate, because I'm a very competitive person in general. And I've had to kind of taper that down. Of course, I want to know more than the other agent. If I'm the
right,
list agent, I want to know more than the buyer, regardless. But I don't want to annihilate that person. I want to work with that person
right.
and to have that win-win transaction. So to get back to the media, I think if we are good agents and we are doing our jobs, then it's easier to do the media, I guess.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on a win-win. Negotiations is, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to give? And let's come to the middle. you
Yeah.
know?
Yes, because that's what it is. I mean, I was telling some clients because I was negotiating 3 deals last weekend, and I was like, I'm literally exhausted. And it's like you're out digging a ditch. Like, it's exhausting to go from morning having people text you at 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night on 3 different deals. It's exhausting. It's
Yeah.
complete. I feel like I slept 2 days after that, because it was the entire weekend just arguing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, I don't mind the negotiation because I feel like I can do it, but it is a big part that people don't realize what it takes to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of go from, 2014 coming back, focusing on business. It sounds like a lot through your sphere, intentionality with your social media. What lead me up from coming back to current day as far as business, as far as how you thought about things to grow your business. Just kind of lead me through those years.
Okay. Well, I moved home. My mom was sick, so I moved home to really be with her. So 2014, 2015, that was kind of my primary thing that I was focused on. And I flipped a house during that time. And then, like I said, it kind of just organically grew. But
Mm.
I really focus on my existing clients. I try and send gifts, say hi, um, patronize whatever they're doing. I don't have anything really set. I'm really pretty disorganized, to tell you the truth. And I know people don't want to hear that because they want these specifics on how to grow your business, but I think it really depends on your market and you. You know, I
Well,
am
most salespeople aren't organized, right? I mean, we're good at sales, right? We're good with the face to face and building
that's it.
relationships.
Yeah, right, right. And that's kind of how I'm social. When I first moved back, I was on every committee and every whatever I could get on because I like doing that and I want to help and I want to be community focused. But then when COVID hit, I was like, I kind of just became a recluse because I was overburdened and
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
yeah,
But I think that's probably, I probably get most of my business just from repeat and referrals and I think social media has helped a lot too. So I think the first couple years and with all of my staging, and then who would have known that COVID would hit and that would be the biggest boom that we would ever see. And that
yeah.
truly was my best year. I mean, I did, yeah, I think 21 was my best year ever in
Yeah.
real estate. And that was just literally working all the time. That's all I did was just
Well,
work.
it's a hard time when you look at it overall, right? As far as the world goes, but from a real estate standpoint, it was almost like the perfect storm,
Yeah.
in the sense of it made people think twice about where they live and how their home is set up from a entertaining standpoint, functionality standpoint. Hey,
Everything.
now we're all here, so does this space work for our family? Whereas before it was coming and going and all that stuff, and then throw in the help with lower interest rates, and
Yes.
then the market started picking up, and almost like when you said '05 back in Austin, it was easy. I tell agents all the time, especially the ones that have been licensed in the last couple of years, of 2020, 2021, 2022, real estate was easy in the sense of getting clients to come to you, meaning, hey, John, I want to talk about selling my house, or hey, John, I'm thinking about buying a house. Now, it was harder to get buyers into contract, but as far as people coming out of the woodwork to you,
It was, yes.
that's been the easiest it's ever been for me. And I've been like, since 2011. So, it's almost like that perfect storm happened.
Yeah. And they say, the forecasters say that we'll lose a ton of realtors this year because of that, because it was so easy. If they got into it in 2000, it wasn't easy, but what you said,
Yeah,
they were calling. I've seen it. It has slowed down, but I don't know if I attribute it to a lot of things, higher
sure.
interest rates, the weather, when it's cold, people aren't as excited to go look. But then if you price, I think that a lot of it has slowed down because we've overpriced,
Mm,
because there's so many people that still think we're in that boom. They
yeah,
think they're going to get this big price. And I've done it myself. I've overpriced and then literally priced it at where I think it should be, and boom, sells.
yeah.
So I think it's going to take a little bit for everybody's mentality to go back to, okay, we're not going to get 10 offers, 20 offers, 5 of them, $20,000 over.
Yeah.
I don't think those days I don't think they're completely over, just
Yeah.
because we're still in a housing deficit.
Yeah.
And, I tell this all the time. I mean, basic economics, it's supply and demand, and we do not have the supply. So it's going to continue to be pretty, dog eat dog, but it's not going to be like it was, last year.
Yeah. No, I mean, Central Ohio, I think overall will be fine. Just like you said, we just have too much coming here as far as businesses. We have too much going on. It's still going to be a great time to sell. It's still going to be a great time to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah. Central Ohio has always been good because we aren't the coast. We don't have these monster. I mean, I sold our place in LA like 2 years ago, literally right before the boom hit, and he sold it like a year later for like $250,000 more. I was like, but no one knew, you just don't know. But that's how crazy it is on the coast. We kind of get this. Ours is like this. Theirs is like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're gonna be fine, and we're getting Honda too here in Courthouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, like I said, when you actually look at, Central Ohio as a whole, there's a lot of great things going on.
yeah,
And like you said, basic economics, supply and demand. Right now, there's not enough supply for the demand that we have here in Central Ohio, and it's only going to get worse if we
yeah,
can't figure out, building and all of those things. So
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, that has been really good for Courthouse though, because I honestly never understood why we are in the situation we're in. And I just took a class a couple months ago, and the guy who taught it finally revealed, which maybe you knew this and everyone else knew it and I didn't, that banks weren't or haven't been lending to builders since 2008. They just haven't been lending to builders. So they haven't built anything. And that's why we are in this housing crisis that we're in right now. Because, I mean, remember what happened? I mean, my gosh, everybody went bust because, the banks just, oh, you have a dog? We'll give them a loan. Sure. No doc loan? Sure. Now, I mean, you literally have to give your firstborn to get a loan. It's like, it's insane. So, so everything's getting back to where it should be. But, I'm not worried about, any kind of like recession or anything with us.
right. Angela, I want to kind of shift focus to future for your
Okay.
business and kind of where you want to go. What's something that you're looking to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Finish a flip that I'm doing. Yeah. I I feel like I worked myself into oblivion the last couple of years. So this year I'm focusing on higher priced homes and doing some more flips. This one should be hopefully in 6 months, it should be done. And then I want to buy more rentals, have
Awesome.
more mailbox money,
Yeah.
and really focus. I need to literally print out every single client that I have and go through and look and try and focus on there are certain types that I like to work with, single moms, because that just brings me joy, because I want to help them and I want to help them start building generational wealth. I want to work with some groups, just some minority groups that have never been told that they can buy a house. I would love to help build something like that. And then I want the higher priced homes, because honestly, they're not as much work and usually smooth the transaction, which is weird, but it is.
Well, I always try to tell agents, you're running a business, right? How do you want that business to look? We get to decide what the business looks like,
Yep.
Whether or not we set those boundaries, or whether or not we, decide who our ideal client profile is going to be, or, as far as, making more money, we only have a couple different options that we can choose from. right?
Okay.
And
Yes.
strategically going after the higher end homes, right? That's a strategy,
Yes.
and it's just putting some intention behind the marketing and all of those things. So I love
Yep.
it. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to accomplish in the next 5 years?
I want to have a certain amount of passive income from my investments, and then yeah, not work.
I love it.
Not work. Yeah. No, I would.
Travel.
Yeah, I'm turning 50 in October, so I really would like to not work as much. So I don't know if that's exactly what you want to hear, but I would love to get a team together, some
Yeah.
sort of team, and not, it doesn't even have to be labeled a team, but I'd like to have a team together where I can kind of coach and still bring in income through the agents, but
Yeah.
but still have my foot in it, you know.
Well, hey, I call that building a business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And not having a job anymore, and
right.
I try to stress that with real estate agents of, you know, you can have most people get in because they want more money, more time, freedom, or more flexibility within their schedule.
Yes,
You can have all three. It's hard to get all three with just you,
it
right?
sure is. Yeah.
And the idea of actually building a business, when people say they want to build a real estate business, well, building a business means that it should be able to operate without you. You should be
Yes.
able to step back. And I think that's where there's a little disconnect between a lot of real estate agents is they feel like they have to touch every piece of their business in order to be successful, and that's not the case. So I
No.
love I love hearing, agents thinking that way, as far as, hey, I want the time freedom. I want the time flexibility, and I want the money too. And that's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay to have all three.
So that, you know what? Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read it when I was in my 20s. I reread it the last couple years. I listen to it on Audible all the time. That's his
Yeah.
philosophy, pretty much. Hire people to do the things that you don't need to do.
Yeah.
You know, you know,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot. Again, being in that Midwestern mindset with your parents telling you, if you want something done, you got to do it yourself. Done right, you got to do it yourself. No, 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 no. That will keep
Yeah.
you poor. It'll either keep you poor or completely um, tired all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Angela, what's a legacy goal for you? What's something that you want to hit when you're no longer here?
Oh, I have too many of those. I want to start a adoption agency. I would love to do something, a homeless shelter of some sort. I love to help any people in addiction, anything like that. I did a home tour over Christmas, and all the proceeds went to a local organization that does that.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I just want to help people, give them a second chance. That's my main goal. And I think housing is so important. And that's why every single thing that I do, I try to make it around housing. Like I did a historic home tour. So it's about preserving history, it's about providing homes, it's about providing security and generational wealth. Because
Hmm.
if you look at most people who are wealthy, it's through real estate. Like I
Yeah.
think the stats like 90%. So,
Yeah.
and it's not just selling real estate, it's investing in real estate. It's knowing how to invest it and how to reinvest it. 1031 exchanges, how to do those, how to flip, why flip, how about keeping your rental properties, commercial properties. There's all these different things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just like to help people, build a life that they would like to have.
I love it. Angela, I want to be respectful of your time. I always end with this last question, and that's if you could give agents one piece of advice, that you received, that you wish you received, either beginning of your career, at any point of your career, what would that be?
Um, be authentic. People can spot a phony from a mile away. No, I'm not saying phonies don't get business because some of them do, But in general, be yourself. Don't try and be anybody else. Just be yourself, because you will find your niche. You'll find the people who are attracted to your personality. Don't try and mold into things that you aren't, because, like I said, people will figure that out. If you are your authentic self and you are truthful and honest with everybody up front from the very beginning, you will do well.
I love it.
Yep.
Angela, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your journey. And I loved getting to hear your story,
Crazy as it is.
and getting into this business. For those that are listening in and not watching, whether they are someone that wants to buy with you, invest with you, sell through you, or just another agent that just wants to connect to ask questions, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Texting. I think that's the best. 310-384-4744.
Angela, thanks again for your time today. I appreciate you so much. And if I could do anything for you, please let me know.
Thank you. See ya.